runs through your mind when you hear the word finance? I'm sure not much of information, but a lot of confusion, right? So here, on behalf of IM community, I would like to introduce Mr. Sandeep Das, who is director at PwC, a columnist, an avid writer, and a consultant with over several years of experience in the industry. He'll be speaking about personal finance, mistakes millennials make, covering the concept of available instruments, which one to use, and the right portfolio management, and much more. So let's hear from him about the topic.
Welcome back. When I speak at the various IITs and IIMs, one of the primary pain points that emerges with millennials is the knowledge of personal finance. Which instruments are available, which instruments should you invest in, what is the right portfolio statement to make, and what are some of the investing errors people make. Now, the education system in India and the corporates we work in somehow don't equip us enough with this knowledge of personal finance. So in this series of 3 to 4 videos, I plan to touch upon this mysterious topic of personal finance. In fact, my latest book, Hacks for Life and Career, A Millennial's Guide to Making It Big, has an entire section dedicated to what I'm going to speak on in personal finance. So do check that out and we will get started. Now, the first question any millennial often asks is, why is personal finance important? And the answer in one line is because the more you have in the bank, the better you will sleep at night. Now, this statement is relevant with respect to the economic environment we're living in, with the economy contracting 25% in the first quarter and expected to contract 10% for the whole year, and the job losses and the job furloughs happening. Being smart with personal finance and saving smartly is going to be very helpful at this point. The second big reason why you need to understand personal finance is because one of the big millennial trends this decade is going to be that most millennials, all of us, are going to pursue multiple careers, and each career is likely to be non-linear. What that means is millennials are likely to take sabbaticals, are likely to take time offs, they will give themselves risky ventures which might or might not be monetarily rewarding. And hence, if you are smart with personal finance, you will sleep better at night. Now, personal finance, the two principles that apply with personal finance is one, it is not about earning more, but it is always about saving more. And the second principle is to look at what are the common errors every millennial makes and to avoid those errors so that your corpus keeps on increasing. Now, it is interesting that most millennials make the same kind of mistakes, batch after batch, generation after generation. Now, it's important to understand these mistakes so that you as someone don't make these same mistakes with respect to your personal finance. Now, I'll divide these mistakes into two types. The first is lifestyle-oriented mistakes and the second is investing mistakes. Now, with lifestyle mistake, there are 3 primary mistakes which a lot of millennials, including me, make. The first is to live on credit card debt. Now, with the festive season going around, it's very lucrative to buy the latest gadget or the latest pair of shoes on credit card debt. After all, it's only 2% extra per month. However, this is probably the worst form of personal finance mistake a person can make. Not only is it sheer gluttony at 24% annual return, but it's a larger mindset issue on living on borrowed money, and consistently living on borrowed money to fulfill your consumerism choices often leads to very poor ends over a period of time. The second big mistake from a lifestyle perspective which most millennials make is to first spend and then save from their monthly salary. Now, with so many consumerism choices that are available to all of us, what it means is the percentage that people save every month is lower, and as a result, the corpus doesn't grow as much as it should. The third mistake from a lifestyle choice which people make is most millennials have a false sense of complacency about their job or their careers, and hence don't keep an emergency fund for a potential medical emergency or a mishap in the family or a job follow is not really kept. The next set of mistakes are about investing oriented mistakes which millennials make. Now, when it comes to investing, personal finance is good and you will make money as long as it is boring. The minute you start attaching glamour to it and try to prove that you are the next Warren Buffett or the greatest fund manager is when you will start losing money. For instance, investing in instruments which people don't understand, like financial derivatives, or investing in instruments which are not legal, for example, bitcoins, or investing in penny stocks and having the claim that you've discovered the next source of billion-dollar wealth creation is bound to make you lose money. Now, this is disconcerting because if you see over the period of COVID, the number of Demat accounts have gone up 4 times in an environment where people are losing jobs. What it actually tells you is a lot of millennials are actually gambling their money away on the equity markets. Now, what millennials need to consider is how to avoid these lifestyle and investing mistakes. Now, from a lifestyle perspective, living on credit card debt is a strict no-no. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. The 24% interest which the credit card charges is actually all evil. The second thing which millennials should look at from a lifestyle perspective is when you get your salary, save 50% of it first and the remaining 50% blow it on your living expenses and whatever consumerism choices you might have. That is how you will build a corpus over a period of time. The third is to have an emergency fund which is completely parked away in a fixed deposit in a bank. The emergency fund should have about 6 to 9 months of your living expenses for a potential medical emergency in the family or just a mishap in the family or your job getting lost. From an investing perspective, the single biggest principle that matters for millennials in this decade is to pursue safety. With the economic environment being gloomy and the long-term career trend of multiple non-linear careers. Now, what safety means is if your total net worth is 100, at least 60 to 70 of that 100 should be invested in fixed instruments which have fairly fixed degree of return with very little chance of erosion of the principal. The remaining 30% can be invested in gold, a bit of stock markets through the large cap funds and the American stock markets, and necessary insurance for the family. In summary, personal finance is important because the more you have in the bank, the more you can take a risk and the better you will sleep at night. So this is the first part in a multi-part series I want to address on personal finance. In the next video, I will talk about a detailed portfolio statement a millennial should make. Let me know what you thought of this video and drop by your comments in the section below.